We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Puckerbutt, it is the Bad Apple hot sauce. There's the long URL there for the website. At the bottom, this little blurb is a goofy, sort of unreadable thing about the Puckerbutt Pepper Company. I don't know why that's there. Like, I don't mind them doing a label refresh. You know I love to talk about labels. You know I love to. So, it's good that you can see between the two ends. This is good, but this is a lot of wasted space. They could have extended the labels quite a bit more than this, I feel. This, I don't know what this pennant and stuff is. This could have just been completely thrown out and you could have had something useful here. Something about the sauce, for instance, maybe. Label refreshes are, I don't think Puckerbutt had bad labels. Like I'm not sure. I get it that people find it necessary to do that every once in a while. And I noticed that a lot of the new Puckerbutt labels has Smoke and Ed Curry's face on it, which is cool. That's fine. Do whatever you want. You've certainly earned it. This font is awful. Like, why would you choose this? I don't. Some of the choices that people make on their labeling, I just don't get it. When you're choosing for labels, look, hot sauce people out there, think in terms of legibility. Like, nobody cares about how original and unique your goofy font is if it's not legible. It's just annoying at that point. Pick for legibility, period. All right. So here we have applesauce, we have pepper mash, and I'll come back to that. We have vinegar, apple juice, pineapple juice, fresh ginger, cinnamon, and citric acid. So I don't like this pepper mash. Like, I get that people are trying to get away with putting as little as possible on the labels they can, because they're worried about, hey, there's a crack in this. That's interesting. I didn't notice that before. Huh, that's wild. It's a crack. It hasn't gone all the way through. Crazy. Anyway, so I get that people are trying to sort of play cloak and dagger with the FDA and what you actually have to have on a label and what order and so on and so forth. Saying just pepper mash is meaningless. Completely meaningless. And through some digging, I found that this is Reaper pepper mash. The Reaper is the pepper that's in here. But man, that's too much work. Like, why, as a consumer, from my standpoint, why should I have to go through all that? Does it really help anything that somebody has to dig to find out that it's Reaper in there when you could just say it on there? Like, I don't understand the motivation of a lot of sauce makers doing that. They try to get a little bit more into opacity. They try to be a little bit more vague, and why? What's the point of that? I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't understand it. I wish it wasn't going on like that. So, starting with applesauce, we do have somewhat of that as a consistency, although it's obviously a lot looser. Thanks to all the juices in there. This one I got excited about because For the weekends, so the weekends, what I like to have for breakfast is something actually we'll be having here shortly. And it's an apple pie. So this one, I'm like, yes, another dessert sauce. This should be really interesting. It says cinnamon on the label. You can see it right there. Thankfully, cinnamon does not play into this too much. I mean, it looks kind of like applesauce with peppers in it. A very loose applesauce, to be sure. But that's kind of what it looks like. One of the things about certain sauce makers is they sort of have patterns. And Smoke and Ed, I feel, has a couple of them. One of them is to make sauces featuring just the pepper and variations on that. So distillates and concentrates and so on and so forth along with the pepper. So you get really just, in vinegar usually as well, but you get really just a sort of very forward taste of just the pepper. The other thing that I noticed a lot with Smoke and Ed's is that he really likes to use fresh ginger. So, and I love fresh ginger. So, a man after my own heart in a lot of ways there. The not so much the focus on just the pepper. I mean, I'm glad somebody's doing that. I don't know that always makes a great tasting sauce, to be honest. But I'm glad somebody is doing that just so you can sort of really fully lean into and embrace just the flavor of the pepper itself. But this is another one where we have the fresh ginger in there. And it doesn't always show up in the profile. Here it actually does a little bit, and the sauce is better for it. So let's get on into it. That is just delicious. This is actually one of the best tasting sauces I've had this year, maybe ever. This is so what I love about this, you get the applesauce, right? You get that vibe. You get some pineapple in there. You get a lot of lightness from the ginger that's in there, and then you get the Reaper. That's just kind of melding in there. Is the sweetness of the pepper working really well with the other ingredients, but also just a little boost, a little hint, just a little of heat there, just a little spark. Gorgeous sauce. This is really, I think, one of the better crafted sauces that I've had from Puckerbutt. It is quite nice. This bottle. They must have had something happen in the forming process because it's actually quite uneven. Nothing to do with Smoke and Ed's. It's just something, I don't know, I kind of notice weird details. I get wordy, on the blog as well. Why use one word when 50 will do, right? Just a facet, I suppose, of my personality. But yeah, this is, unfortunately, I'm not picking up any cinnamon at all. Like at all, period. It might as well not even be in there. So something that does have cinnamon, however, is this. So this is an apple pie. Like I was saying, a couple things. The first one is that I like to have these for breakfast on the weekends. And sometimes during the week, but I don't, generally the pie doesn't last that long, and here's why. I buy these in halves. And even though they're refrigerated, by the time you get, 2 or 3 days after that, it, the pie loses some of its luster. But I think this is a fantastic breakfast. Like Smoke and Ed has patterns, I have patterns too. Every time I go to the grocery store, I will usually pick up a half a pie so I can have it for breakfast on the weekends. It's kind of one of my little treats. I like to get myself treats when I'm grocery shopping. And so that's one of the things that I've kind of got stuck on. And if I ever get tired of one kind of pie, just get a different kind of pie. I've always liked pies. It's always been, I think, one of my favorite baked items. And there's no reason not to just treat myself for it. There's been a lot of focus, I think, as well in the hot sauce world on dessert sauces lately. And so I can combine, two things I love together. for breakfast. What could go wrong, right? So this is a sauce that I feel like needs to be somewhat steadily agitated, though, because I think it will separate a little bit because it's so liquidy. It'll separate a little bit in the bottle, and there's no binders or emulsifiers or anything in there. So, all right, let's get on into this. And you can see, I mean, I'm into the bottle. I might have already tried this. Just, this is so delicious. I feel like it would work pretty well on a pear pie as well. I will say, I kind of think you need, I think it's meant to be a dessert sauce or to be put in drinks. Either one of those two. So when you're using it, you do kind of have to have it somewhere where the food is going to go with apples. Pork or chicken, either one. The sauce is phenomenal with. And it's pretty clever, I think. And that's another sauce that is so good. I opened this like a day and a half ago, and you can see half of it's gone already. It is so good that you wind up using a lot of it. So smart move there, Ed. Yeah. But that's really what sells sauces, I think, right? Is flavor. Obviously, all of us here in this space like heat. Or we wouldn't bother with hot sauce at all, right? But what brings the boys and girls back to the art is flavor. You know, because like, from a foodie perspective, there's been sandwiches that I've had that have been so good that I will go back to that restaurant and I'll have the same menu item like 30 times in a row. Just because it's so delightful an experience. Some people will play the same video game over and over. Watch the same movie or show. Maybe read a book a few times over. I don't do those things normally, but I will listen to a music CD, you know, repeatedly, you know, to the point where I've had my fill, but then I'll go back to it over the years. You know, there's a lot of albums I will have that I'll try, that I'll make an annual revisit to those, you know, to those sounds and tones and everything. And you don't necessarily capture the same feeling again. It's usually different. But it is different in still a high quality, and I would say almost expansive way. And I think that's good. I think that kind of thing is definitely on the money. So this one, this is, I think, really kind of cool in that you can use it in a pretty decent variety of applications, like on meats and stuff. It has enough heat, I think, to really work very well. And it's not super cloyingly sweet either. Like, it added a nice bit of contrast to what is normally just a hyper sweet apple pie. It's one of the other reasons I can't have pies too many days in a row. Is just they're usually just so loaded with sugar that I can't. I don't have a sweet tongue particularly, so it's too much for me. But this brightened it up a lot. So, yeah, really, really quite a phenomenal sauce. I mean, it might be a little bit low on the flexibility scale of things, but where it works, man, it is fantastic. Definitely another banger from Smokin' Ed. No question about that at all. The runniness, I think, is maybe intentional, you know, so you can use it in drinks and stuff like that. And that's kind of another thing, too, that I see. I don't really have a lot of that content here where I have, you know, there's a number of videos where I've actually made drinks in the, you know, in these videos, and there's huge playlists if you want to seek out any of those. But I don't think that's, for most people, I don't think that's a super common usage. But it is, you know, maybe if kombucha continues to, you know, to ramp up and stuff, this would actually be, I think, quite good in a kombucha. A lot of flexibility there. But overall, just make a fantastic tasting sauce. And that's what we have here ultimately. Heat is very, very minimal, I think. It is not, to me, it's not particularly braised. I think I gave it a 1. So I don't think too many people are going to be challenged by that. But this could also be another excellent gateway sauce for people to get in and see if they want to embrace the chili head lifestyle or not. So there's a lot of cool stuff surrounding this sauce, and we'll just leave it there. So there it is, the Puckerbutt Bad Apple Hot Sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.